And we are live. Hello and welcome. Uh, Today we'll talk to you about why automated regression testing is the future for D365, but we'll give everyone a chance to join. So as you're joining, you can write on chat where you're connecting from. And for these first couple of minutes, maybe we can start up some discussion. And I heard you were recently in South Africa, Bart?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much for asking that. Indeed, it was a very nice. This is not the first time, definitely. The third or fourth time in Africa we've been visiting a partner, and there is a significant business going on.
Okay.
I think in Africa right now there is one of the biggest implementation of finance and operations on southern hemisphere. What they say, but that's true. I mean, over 9,000 users in Dynamics, significant load.
That big
And
of a project?
yeah, and it's exciting. We've been doing a lot of performance testing of it, and outcome is significant. Business loves it. Stakeholders, everybody feel confident, and yeah, that's a nice way to go with projects.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I was talking to a partner a couple of days ago. He was just in South Africa, but he was there for vacations. So
Yeah,
you can
pretty
do
nice.
business and you can do leisure in
That's
there.
nice. We've been just doing like ice bathing 2 weeks ago, and 2 days after we have 35 degrees Celsius, sunny Africa. It was pretty nightmare, but yeah, we are traveling a lot. I mean, lately, I mean, October and December was for us a lot of travels.
Oh yeah,
Toronto, Montreal,
yeah.
Niagara Falls. That was the nice place
Too
to.
much, I'd say, even travel, and
Yeah,
we got even more for this year.
that's true.
But
That's true.
yeah, let's I guess jump into it. We've hopefully everyone has already joined us. So hello and welcome again. My name is Matt. I have Bart here with me today. I'm responsible for our partnership channel. Bart is the product manager for our main product, Executive Automats. The chat is on. Hopefully, you've been writing where you are connecting from already, and that you can hear us and see us. It would be a shame if we're just talking to each other only.
Yeah, we have confirmation. Yeah, we have a lot
Yeah,
of
we
people.
have some confirmation. That's great. So the chat is on. So if you will have any questions during the presentation, feel free to post them there. We will set aside some time at the end to address those questions. Hopefully, we'll be able to address all of them. But if not, then we can always reach out to you afterwards. We are obviously recording this webinar. It would be really a shame not to record this, given that we're in such a nice studio. We will have a special treat for you, but I will maybe talk more about that later on in this presentation. So, a few words about us. We've been helping clients with various D365 pain points over the years. The main pain point that we solve is test automation. We've started back in the AX 2009 days, so 12 years now. During this webinar, we will mostly talk to you about that, so test automation. But just so you know, we also solve some other pain points, such as custom security roles or data anonymization in D365. So today we'll focus on the most common pain point, and that is testing. So what's on the agenda? First, we'll go through some of the most common issues, problems with D365 testing projects. Then we'll briefly go over what an average project looks like. Then I'll say a few words about how to select the right tool for test automation. And in general, the scheme for today's session will be us trying to argue that test automation is the future and it solves many of the common issues that clients run into with testing nowadays. And of course, at the end or in the middle, we will show you our solution for it, Executive Automats. And as I mentioned earlier, at the end, we'll just focus on some of your questions. So what are these common issues that clients run into? I'll firstly highlight them for you, and then I'll talk about how automation addresses them. So clients are often not sure how to approach this project. After all, this is usually your first implementation or your first time you're working with Dynamics. And how are you supposed to know how to approach this project optimally? There's not a lot of good quality information freely available on the topic, and partners often leave this area to the clients themselves. If clients start testing somehow, then they usually give this responsibility to the SMEs, to the subject matter experts, to the key users, to the business, really. And that often happens without even giving them the proper processes in place, the proper procedures, the proper organization of the project. That can lead to frustration, lack of clarity, and just simply chaos. So nobody knows what that the application is being tested properly. This is not a good recipe for success, and that's caused by the fact that it is the business doing the project without having a specific supervision and procedures in place. Then we have the issue of reliability. So if you're testing with your users, with your testing manually, then you run into the problem of human errors. A tester can oversee or miss testing a specific test case. They may just be tired. First few times they will test everything thoroughly, perfectly, but then on the 10th time they are already frustrated with it, and they will say that they've tested everything that they've got, but they won't, in fact. And maybe in that test case that is not tested, there will be some critical bug that'll cause some huge issues for the company. And manual testing is obviously slow. If you have a test plan consisted of, let's say, 600 test cases, it'll take you about 200 hours to go through that. And 200 hours, that's like full work week for 5 testers. And that assuming that they can drop everything else and just focus on only on testing for the entire week. No retesting, no nothing. And so in practice, that will be more like 2 or 3 weeks, because they usually cannot drop everything and just focus on testing. What else? That causes also, or manual testing also causes, is very expensive, because if you count all of these resources, if you count 200 hours, multiply it by the number of Microsoft releases that you have to take, multiply it by the number of ISV releases, internal releases, that builds a big number. That's a lot. And manual testing also limits you, because you're always limited by your people's time. And what is the solution to that, to all of these common issues? We believe this is automated testing. Maybe the first point, not having the right methodology or knowledge on how to do the project, this is not exactly affected or addressed by automation. But I would argue that if you don't have the proper methodology, if you don't do the project properly, then you shouldn't really be thinking about test automation, because in the optimal way, automation should just be a part of your project. If you do all the steps up until this point, well, then automation is just a natural progression. And of course, the competent partner can help you with that. We have our own methodology. We work also with many partners who know how to do test automation and testing projects in D365 properly. The problem with the users doing the testing is also no longer there once you automate, because automation will mean that you're taking away the majority of the work from the users and giving it to the tool, to the robots. They'll thank you for it, for sure. They will appreciate it. But that also means that you'll get rid of this chaos, because automation will help you organize those testing activities, and it will also help you free up your people's time. Reliability aspect, that will no longer be an issue with automation, because then you have full confidence that each of the test cases, executes all the steps exactly like you want, all the validations, everything is always done just like you programmed it to. So there's no longer a possibility of a human error. Of course, assuming that your testers will do a good job in the creation of the test scripts, because that's where a human error could occur. What about the slowness? So I was saying that with manual testing, you have to spend 200 hours to go through 600 test cases. So with automation, you will run those scripts in a matter of a few hours. If you find some bugs, you can always rerun the entire test plan or specific test cases just with a couple of clicks. It's very quick. You got the results almost immediately, and you no longer have to take 5 people and have them spend 3 weeks to go through a full regression test cycle. And that, of course, allows for big savings, but also for vast improvements in the quality of the application, because with automation, you can really focus on all this maybe less critical processes, which you wouldn't have focused otherwise, because you would have been limited by your people's time with manual testing. With automation, you can add more and more and test super thoroughly. So, Bart, which one of these common issues do you think is the most common?
Yeah, that's a perfect question. I mean, from the perspective, as we see finance and operations, actually whole dynamics, we've been on the market quite a lot. And 2018, 2019, I think you had that nice project in Canada. How many entities you had? 200 something?
That was a big one. Yeah, I think more than 200 entities. And these were like precursors, right? Like early adopters. They were thinking holistically about testing in 2019.
That's true. It was 2019. And, we have to agree that ERP systems, they don't have such a kind of a massive methodologies. There are no guidelines. Microsoft is building kind of a knowledge for you guys, for partners, for customers, for everybody who is struggling with day-by-day testing. And making sure that you have business users doing their day-by-day job is your core. I mean, they should do business. The operations that they do to support you, I mean, the testing is never something which they want to do. They work 8 hours and they want to accomplish their goals, their targets. And if somebody will tell them it's 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., they already over hours. So Chiara, can you do 10 tests for it? This is going to be quick, just 10 tests.
Yeah.
And then they say,
Sure.
For the first time, maybe, the second time, but the fifth time, they will be never, I would never do this. Or they will tell you, I've done it, but they haven't done that. That's probably the biggest problem, that they say they tested, but the test quality was pretty low. And I think that addresses the overall problem. And having in mind the one version, 4 releases per year, that's pure madness. How you can ask business to do such much amount of testing? I mean, the test automation in that case takes whole problem and the weight from the business back to the where it belongs, to the IT department.
Yeah, it helps a lot. What I personally like is just the fact that you can, execute your scripts, your entire test plan or specific test suits just like that. You don't need to involve all those, 5 or 10 or 20 people and ask them to do this work. It's all done by the tool. Cool. So just a few words about how this average usual test automation project looks like. So usually the first stage is kind of like setting up the strategy for the testing. So you have to define the project governance, what stakeholders will take part in the project, what roles they will have, like a racing matrix. You have to define how the reporting will be done, what your standard template should look like for test cases, what the naming convention should be, how often do you want to run these tests, when, how, etc. And once you've got that, you create a list of processes. You identify the SMEs, the subject matter experts, the key process owners who are responsible for the given areas or for the given processes, and together with them, you define the priorities for these processes. So which ones are business critical, which ones are maybe not that critical. And after this phase, you've got your strategy in place. You've got a high level definition of the test plan. So now there's just a lot of work that you have to put in to work with the SMEs and understand what they're doing, their processes, and how those processes should be tested. So at this stage, you're just defining the test cases. You're creating your Word files or Excel files, or you're working in DevOps, and together with the SMEs, you're defining all the test cases. And again, by the end of this stage, you've got your strategy in place, you've got your test plan defined, you've got your test cases defined. So in a natural way, you can move into automation. And if I said that the second part takes a lot of time, then the third part takes even more time, because if you define 500 or 1,000 test cases, now you have to spend a lot of time automating those test cases in the tool. But this phase is just about taking the defined test cases and creating scripts in a test automation tool to cover as much of the scope as possible. You're usually not able to cover 100% of the scope, because some test cases will always have to be done manually, but you can usually cover a vast majority of it. So by the end of the stage, you're all set, you're smooth cruising, you've got your test strategy in place, you've got your test plan defined, your test cases defined, you've got them automated even, and now you can simply run them whenever needed. You can do bug triage. Of course, the purpose of testing is to find bugs and catch them before they go to production. So you'll do a lot of triaging. And what's also important is continuous improvement. So simply working with the SMEs continuously to, first of all, maintain the scripts that you have, because the processes may change, the test cases may change. So you have to work with them to maintain your scripts, update them, but also the scope may be increased because the application is always growing. There's always things changing. So new test cases will be added to the scope.
True. I mean, from your perspective, like the partnership as well, I think this also is kind of a similar for performance testing. You had that nice project in Netherlands back in the days.
Yeah, that was a really nice project actually. Nature's Pride. That was performance test on-prem.
Yeah.
So it was added difficulty. I think we did a hell of a good job there, because I remember the client saying afterwards, very, very nice, kind words. I will always remember that. I think it was even like I was on vacation throughout that project, but I was kind of like managing, PMing the team to make sure the work is delivered well. But yeah, at the end of the day, the client appreciated that, and we were also very happy to deliver that successfully.
That's true. I mean, we've been able to actually confirm that the on-premises will work not so well as cloud. So that's probably one of the greatest points which Microsoft can get value from, because everybody is wondering nowadays, I mean, should I stay on cloud? Should I go on premises? So those performance testing activities, especially when you have a great team and the not only the tool, but also the surroundings, working SMEs, so forth, you are able to make something like one day after go live tests. You can perform like a high scale activities to simulate some critical events, but also just make sure that there is no worry. I can go on cloud, I will have the same amount of performance, and I'll be able to scale it proactively whenever something goes wrong. And I think I mean, that's not a typical thing which our partners do, but we are doing the trainings for to kind of assure the approach of performance testing so partners can deliver the service. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, in general, we work with partners all around the world, and we are more than happy to share our knowledge on testing, on performance testing, on regression testing, to help them build business lines focusing on these areas and solving these problems for their clients. Because again, we've been there, we've done that. We can share this to help us grow, because like in 2019, only early adopters were thinking about test automation. Now nearly every client is thinking about how they will need to approach the test automation, the testing project, and then they're naturally looking for solutions, and one of that solutions is test automation.
That's true. I think also it's nice to underline that we are caring a lot about the software and building perfect tool, and we are not able to deliver service across the globe. That's why we rely so much on partners to have partner in every place, every destination, because they know culture, they know local stuff, local specifics, they know how to communicate. Sometimes they have local bank, and that's the asset that somebody wants to pay in the currency, and so forth. So that's why we count so much on partners to build that connection, that community, to deliver at the end of the day high value and very well working finance and operations.
Yeah, we much rather focus just delivering a great product and improving the product, and have partners just help us reach more of the markets, because on our own we can only reach so much of the market.
Yeah.
With a network of great partners, we can reach the whole world.
That's true.
All right. So, how do you select the right test automation tool? What are some criteria to consider? In my opinion, the biggest one, the most important one, is the ease of use, because that will determine the whole project. The easier a given tool to use is, the faster you'll be able to automate your scope, so the less time it will take, and then the easier it will be for you to maintain those scripts over time. So the easier the given tool is, the faster and also less expensively you'll be able to deliver the project and manage the project. And what's also important is that you don't want a tool that takes months to onboard new users, because people will naturally fluctuate between companies. So you don't want to rely on a tool that is very difficult to train new employees in. You want a tool that's that you can onboard new people within days or weeks at most, definitely not months. You want a tool that's stable and repeatable. There's a lot of test automation tools that are not very stable, and then you cannot really get those benefits from automation, because if you create your test script once and you execute it a couple of times and then it suddenly stops working, then this tool is really not stable and you're not getting the benefits. For test automation to work, it has to be, you create the script once and run it hundreds of times at no additional cost. Then you're getting the return on investment, the ROI. So that's important. Then we have flexible and efficient. So ideal tool should allow you to limit the amount of work you have to put into your script creation. So, for example, if you want to run your entire test plan against many different entities or against many different data sets, you want a tool that allows you to do that very quickly and very easily. You don't want a tool where you have to spend a lot of time doing that, or maybe even create those scripts differently for those different entities. That tool is not really flexible and doesn't allow you those efficiencies. What else? You want a tool that's integrated with DevOps, because let's be honest, majority of the D365 world uses DevOps. So you'd want a tool where you can combine those synergies and use DevOps for your releases, but also for your test management. And yeah, that will simply help you. And then you want a tool that's proven and reliable. So you don't want a tool that's only been on the market for a couple of months or a year, that you don't really know if there are even other clients who use this tool, because you can run into some issues there. You'd ideally want a tool that's been battle tested in many different industries across the globe, many different clients, many different client sizes, because that gives you this reliability and kind of this Lindy effect. The more something has been on the market, the bigger the probability that it will continue to be on the market for at least as much time. And I believe, Bart, Microsoft also has a similar kind of page where they recommend some tools, or where they write about regression testing tools.
I think that's one of the interesting part, that what Microsoft did in the past, AX 2012, you had that sandbox. You could do practically everything. You can even play horses in Microsoft Dynamics, which was fun because
Yeah,
you've been
I
able to
remember
bet
that.
which horse which will win for the race. Whereas the finance and operations is like a greenfield application. They took our stuff toys from the sandbox. We are able to get some modifications on the top of the layer, which is great because we see that we can live right now for a long time with that environment and everybody is happy. But since you have one version, so you have to apply so much code from Microsoft and those features which are local, so forth. Um, they had to give the tool. They have to create RSAT, which we know how it performs right now, and Microsoft is very clean on saying that the RSAT is not something which will be evolving so much. They've built that baseline that if you have a very small package of tests, probably RSAT will be the way to go, but it is harder to maintain that. And since there will be not so much investment in that area, they said, all right, so let's be honest, there are other tools on the market. And Microsoft
Right.
came with that perfect explanation. So we're going to show you guys, there is an article on Microsoft Learn, which presents all solutions which are available for regression testing. There are actual no recommendations so forth. They are streamlined. They are judged. You have the capabilities, and you are able to pick the tool which will be right for you, which has the bigger benefits. And this is what we like with Microsoft, that they want to give you the baseline. If you want to do more, you can select the right tool for you,
Yeah.
and you are able to scale it up in the way you like. And I think, 2012 when we were building the new customer base, it was pretty hard to sort of sell the testing idea back in
Yeah, yeah,
2012, or 2009. In Austria, we had the customer. It was hard.
we had to educate the clients about the need or the criticality of testing, and yeah, nowadays clients just get it because in D365 they don't have a choice. They have
don't
to
have a
test,
choice.
and
That's
they
true.
have to test often. Wasn't the case on X 2012,
Or
but
2009.
but still there were clients who tested
Yeah.
thoroughly there.
Yeah, that's true. We had one implementation in, I think it was in Hungary. We had 6 or 7 test managers doing the testing, which was awesome. I mean, this was this was deep. We had
Huge project.
tens of testers, but yeah, this was pretty intense. On the next slide, you will see something which actually underlines the understanding of the market and the fluctuations. So, for years we are gathering statistical data of test cases execution, and we have that nice understanding of the market when people are testing. We've been able to identify that indeed the tests are done in the end of the first quarter and more in the October releases. So we know that customers potentially are doing 2 releases per year. And from the values, it is interesting to see how many test cases they've got. This is not like everybody is testing like 1,000 test cases. That's the way to go. This is more like we have 100 and we start with that package. Still, there is a niche, and the test automation can be understood as a niche. Customers need to understand that you don't need to invest so much to have test automation. You can do 100 test cases package, which will take off the majority of work from the business. These tests will be vital for you to run as a small test package. You just need to understand that it is not so hard to get this done. We have customers, I think in Denmark, they have 52,000 test cases execution per month.
I think that's the one on the chart, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest one number which you see.
Imagine doing 52k manual test cases.
Yeah, we've been
How many
calculating that.
people you would need, and how long would
I
it
think
take
this was 20 people full time.
for the whole year? I guess.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was,
god.
It was fun, but again, if you are wondering why I'm testing so much, it's more like you build 10 invoicing journals, and you're gonna say it worked. But if I'm gonna have 1,000 invoice journals, I might run to some specific capacity issues. I can have
Edge cases.
Yeah, edge cases, corner cases, which will be never found when you do one test case per second, or one test case per release. Plus on that, Sometimes the option that you've mentioned, we can do so many test cases per hour. We have that capability of running background test case execution. So I tell to the system, please run Friday night 100 test cases. It's going to run 10 per parallel, so 10 in the same moment. You have that unique situation where system will do deadlocks because we have two operations which are running on the same table, on the same field, update operations, and then boom, you've got suddenly some test case which you will never found, and it will happen only in production because nobody will test it out in manual test cases activities. For everybody, 1.7 million test cases executed. This was by 2023, so we'll definitely update statistics. We are growing like crazy. I think this is like 200 plus customers across the globe, every continent.
Should be 300 this year.
With exception of Arctica, we don't have the customers there.
Yeah.
Hope to.
Maybe there are some big companies working in Africa, in Arctica.
Arctica, yeah. Maybe some, some.
But the average seems quite high. I think
1200?
1,200 scripts per month. That's not doable with manual testing.
Yeah, true. It is. It's hardly doable. Very often, even if you have small business, 1,200 test cases. It's. I mean, this is like a base of 100 test cases, which are repetitively executed over a month time. So, in reality, 1,200 test cases will be equal to, I don't know, maybe.
That's like, I think, 10 people working full time for a full week. So 5 days of 10 people, 50 days of work to test that.
Yeah, depending on the length of the processes every month.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's pretty madness. I mean, these are statistics
Impossible
based on a lot
testing.
of on-premises
very expensive
and cloud systems. But yeah, that's pretty awesome when you see that. And if we are taking a look on statistics, but if you're gonna think about March, and if your business, because that's random, if your business is kind of you have like a low performance, I mean low sales number and so forth up to the March, and March you have peak because you have some, I don't know, maybe April season, then it can be combined with one version that's even more problematic. If you are working in retail, like we had a lot of customers in fashion industry, the biggest brands in the globe, unfortunately their logos
Friday
are pretty
is about that second peak, right?
Yeah, that's
my God.
The second peak is Black Friday. So if you think about that, I need to release the code and I have Black Friday. So, and this is not like you can postpone it so much. Kind of you are forced to do that. So that's another obstacle on the way. Pretty enormous files you can have on those graphs, but we see, I don't know, this is like 50% of the growth of the market year to year, and more year to come. The testing is more needed for everybody.
For sure, it'll only grow. So, are you going to show us a little bit of the application?
Solution? Yeah, with a pleasure. With a pleasure, I will jump into the executive automats. Let me walk you through just the basics, just to show you how easy it is to record a test case, and then we will do playback. Just let me know if the screen is visible. If yes, I will continue. All is good?
Yes.
Perfecto. So, Executive Automats is the on-premises or on-cloud solution. You can install that anywhere. In practice, you can utilize any system operation, so forth. We are able to work with any kind of domain authorizations. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about for hours. The good thing is that the software has full training, documentations, Confluence, Jira. So this is not like you are left alone with the application. You are supported by multiple people in different time zones to help you out with your day-by-day testing. And actually, it's interesting to say that within every update of Microsoft, we are internally doing 2,000 test cases per release to validate the stability state. And we also create, as Executive Automats team, tickets to Microsoft. Hey guys,
we find some bugs from Microsoft.
We found some bugs, and they are working on that. So we went pretty crazy with numbers, but we are just gaining a lot of trust from Microsoft, and that collaboration in last few months is just superb. We see how great it became, and it's continuing growing. executive automats. When you log in inside, you have your cockpit where you see projects, where you see scripts, so test cases, end-to-end processes. You have your schedule, so you can plan Friday night execution. You can plan much more elements. There is also a place where you store all documentation from your application. So this means that if you're going to have a lot of documents created, you'll be able to browse through them and see proofs that you've done the tests. We also have dedicated functions for pharmacy, because pharmacy is pretty strict, saying that very nicely, on the way how they do testing. And pharmacy has a lot of regulations and the needs that every test case execution needs to be documented. Every test case needs to be documented. So there's a lot of to do, and we are compliant, and we have nice case studies around that. So feel free, guys, to see that as well. So let's say I'm a business user. I want to record a test case. As simple as it sounds. I'm gonna hit add. I can select the area in which I'm gonna record a test case. In this case, I'm gonna do let's do fixed assets. Let's go crazy this time. Fixed assets process 01, FA creation. So there is a lot of configuration which system has, and you are able to define plenty of environments which can give you sort of UAT, dev machine, so forth. And this idea is very efficient because I can have my test cases done on test. I can just change the parameter for the environment, and I can run the same thing on the UAT machine. So that's all about the definition of the environment, and the same with AAD accounts. So in the settings area, you define plenty of systems, as well as your applications, the AAD accounts which are used for testing. That's actually open doors for testing security stuff and so forth. I'm running away from the simple recording, so let me come back here to the test cases. Let's add FA create. Let's select the environment. See that in this project doesn't have one, so I'm going to apply this system. Let's go here. So today we're going to use update 60 and the account for test profile 1. So any business user which connects, they can simply don't care about the system where they're going to record the fixed asset creation. In that case, creation of fixed asset. So by clicking create, system will create an empty test case. I can right now start and record. Now system opens up another tab where I actually don't see don't see the login page. So it is automatically authenticated. All problems of MFA, all problems with Okta, and so other authorization systems are solved, because the business user might not know where I need to test, which environment is ready for that. The business user might not know what security access rights I need to have. So we are solving this for them. And as simple as it sounds, they can just walk through the application step by step for performing the business process. So I can just make a decision to go to fixed assets. I can create here a new one and continue. As Matt was mentioning, these test recordings, they can be our test cases, but in the same way how we go through the process, we learn a lot about the system, about its security, and then the same process can be also used for performance testing. So you do one thing, but you gain a lot of benefits, finalizing that with perfect documentation describing the process. So we are creating a new fixed asset. That's going to be a Dell laptop. Let's do Dell as a search name, 12 inches, unit of measure, and so forth. And one of the nice aspects here is that your test case is fully editable. So if you're going to make a choice to select this specific unit of measure, or if in that specific entity where I record a test case, my value need to be equal to something, I can either edit that here in this perspective, so my decision can be changed from LAN to anything else, but also I can apply exo file. So I can have one test case for my, let's say, French entity, and that French entity have some predefined value. I can have exo file which going to have 5 different columns, each for different region. So one test case can be executed one by one throughout my all entities.
That's pretty flexible.
Exactly. You've mentioned the 260 entity company in Canada. How we can live with that? I mean, it's pretty impossible.
Are you gonna create a separate test plan for each one of them?
Exactly. So by saying that, you can just modify, make it very flexible. Plus, you can also make a comment on every step. So if the step is about defining the group, you can define what it's about. And this can be a perfect learning documentation for everybody who starts their job on accountant in that case. So if you are happy with your test case, if all data is valid, I can click save. And then after saving, my unit of my fixed asset is created. I can simply saying continue if I need it. So if I left off my process somewhere in between, I can play it back and I can come back to recorder. So that's seamless experience where you record and play your business process. I can apply number sequences. I can apply some validation, so negative tests, options, option B, option A for my test case. Multiple decisions can be enhanced, and we can go skyrocketing with invoking API code, calling some HTTPS requests. So it can be hyper intense. Yeah. So
basically, whatever you would expect to have in a test automation tool, it is included here, huh?
Exactly, yes. Wow. That's pretty nice, and actually that's pretty nice to mention that the application that we are running today is version 4.5, and we are planning this year 5.0, the newest version, which we're going to have enhanced vision. We're going to have
There's going to be a new UI, right?
There's going to be a new UI, whole new experience, how people are working with the system. So the whole functions on the panel and the whole panel here will be redesigned just for more flexibility. Plus, we are launching this year new way of execution, which will take the stability even higher for the application. So there is much more to come, and looking forward to show you guys that in upcoming events. So yeah, let me in the moment play back the process in background. We're gonna create some documentation, and we're gonna show you this a bit later. So
this documentation feature, this is what you mentioned earlier, right? You can, as a side effect of your testing, you can actually cover your business processes with business process documentation.
Yeah, and that's a nice carrot for business. As a carrot perspective, I perceive this, that business very often, they don't have documentation. They have no clue where it is, the actual one. But thinking about test case, you need to have updated test cases for your day-by-day testing.
You do.
Test case is updated, documentation is updated. So you have that push and pull activity, which brings you your new quality in the organization. The same test case can be converted to security role. The same test case can be then used for multiple other stuff. And this will just grow, and Executive Automate some point can be understood as application lifecycle management tool.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, kind of. So it's pretty interesting how system works and how many benefits you can get. You can observe how system goes through the application without interruption. And it's purely integrated with DevOps. So every error message which you're going to find can be easily sent up to the Microsoft DevOps. So that's pretty nice to have. Like a full seamless integration. Plus the test cases, they are giving you the idea how the process went, successes, error messages, all the stuff is in here. But again, very often, which is intriguing, we are relying on Power BI and DevOps because it's actually one point of truth where every stakeholder, they have the idea and they know that they can go to DevOps, they can find out what is the latest status of the testing, they can find out the bug triage, as you were mentioning. The whole bug traceability is there. And we've done a lot of partner trainings, especially mentioning the methodology and the way how they can work with ADO to make it right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think we visited like, I don't know, 8 or 10 partners on site. We shared our knowledge, our experience, our best practices on testing, on test automation, on our methodology. I think these trips, these workshops went great. But well, you've been here, you've been there with me, so
Yep.
I guess that's why.
Yeah, we are a great team, and we have pretty great team. It's we are also growing internally, like
Man,
year
think
to year.
about it. Like 5 years or 6 years ago, it was a small team.
Yeah.
Just new product coming to the market, and now, how many
200
people do
customers,
we have? And
close to 50 people, mostly on technicalities. I mean,
I think maybe even more than 50 people now.
yeah, and 200 in the whole company, which is great. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. We are growing, and considering the partner net, the whole
Yeah, and the
community.
partnership network is also growing every year. I mean, we just recently shipped the partner website. You can check it out. Maybe we'll post the link on the chat. But yeah, we now, I would say, work closely with at least 30, 40 partners, and we work somewhat with about 100. So
That's nice.
yeah, that's you wouldn't think about that about
5
that
years ago.
scale 5 or 6 years
On
ago. So
2012, where everybody was doing testing. Yeah, well, our users, they do that once 2 years.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think, Matt, you have some special treatment for everybody.
Yeah, maybe that now is the time to share with you this special treat. I don't know if you can see it yet, but I will start talking about it. So, what is this special treat? We thought what to prepare for you, and I thought, why not do a free certification wave? So, for our end user training, which for executive automats, which takes about 20 hours, we do 2-hour sessions with our QA specialist, and then 2 certification courses, which are just guided training exercises where you receive a executive automats environment and some list of tasks, and you just complete these tasks to learn how to use the tool on some basic examples, like from real life of a tester. And this free wave is just an opportunity for you to take this first level of certification, the basic certification, completely free of charge. It's a great way to learn how the tool works, how to use it, and I fully recommend you take advantage of this opportunity. On average, it takes about 6 hours to complete all the tasks. We've had like 500 people complete it, so this average is pretty solid, I would say. We give you a full week to do that, so you get 7 days. We will that the registration is open already. We will post the link in the chat probably now, and we will keep the registration open for until the end of next week, and then we will start the certification the week after that. And again, you will have 7 days to complete all the tasks. There's 30 spots available, so if you wanna take a test drive with executive automats and also get certified in it, feel free to sign up. You can sign up also at executiveautomats.com/freewave. And with that, we can actually move on to the Q&A section. Let's see if we have some questions in the chat. Oh, Martin is highly recommending the certification. Thanks for that, Martin. Yeah, Martin has done the certification, so he knows what he's talking about. Let me see here. Please explain a bit. Oh, let's put that on. Please explain a bit how we can use test case for performance testing.
Sure. So maybe I'll take this one. So if you're going to imagine your test cases, definitely test case which is created for day-by-day testing might be a little bit different than performance testing. You have to be sure that your test case has all data prerequisites. So you need to think more about presets, a bit more about data migration, just to make sure that you can run one test case 100, 600 times. So from the execution perspective, you take number of test cases which are combining your business simulation. Let's say our idea is to validate if my 100 workers from warehouse and sales and accountants, they can work from 9 a.m. up to 11 a.m. So I'm going to build up the numbers. I'm going to match their processes as test cases. And then I'm going to schedule the execution for 2 hours. I'm going to run them with a desired number, like let's say 400s in parallel. And then I measure the SQL, I measure the hardware, the CPU, the responses. I overlook the potential slow queries on the SQL, so forth. You can count events. So you can count how many elements per second, per minute, per hour were delivered. And that will give you like a performance scenario. So we are trying to define performance scenario in which we define test cases, the smaller elements, and we plan the execution. Ideally, we would like to recommend to run tier 5 environment or like a reflection production. So you have to define as well one environment where you execute the test cases. If you don't have the budget to do that, no worries. You can build a sense, a feeling of performance testing. How to do that? You take a portion of that, let's say 10, 50% of the numbers. You run that once a week, once a month on tier 3, 4 environment, of course, depending on numbers. And you do a long-term KPI. So you see within the upgrades if you have some drop on the performance. So that's more like a proactive performance monitoring, which you can do. And these are two approaches, like a more expensive and giving you better results, and less expensive but giving you feeling of the environment performance. You can combine those two, of course. That's always up to you how you're going to do that. But at the end of the day, the performance testing is about running in the background multiple sessions. You don't have any limits. You can do 1,000 sessions if you need, but you have to have a very powerful machine, tier 5, and that makes the cost, definitely.
Yeah, and I can add that, well, the way we do performance tests is really special because we do this from the UI. It's as if you asked your 1,000 users to come to work on a Saturday evening and just click through some processes for the purpose of battle-proofing our application before go live.
That's
and
true.
That's not possible probably to do it like manually, but we provide a solution to do it automatically.
Yeah, I think we've been doing calculation. So we have a lot of government programs where we are able to get finance outside from the government, and we've been calculating how many trees were saved through performance testing because of the green impact on the world.
Right.
And we've been calculating that on the project where we had 600 executions, that we've been able to limit, I don't know, maybe a few tons of CO2 because people were not commuting to work.
Okay.
Plus, we've been able to save electricity because people were not commuting and using PCs. We were just using server sites. So we can say that's a green technology. The performance
it's making
testing.
the world greener.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's true.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this question, Kaushal. I hope we answered it well. What else can we see here? Thanks, Dave, for the kind words. You are working with Frontier Alliance and with EA. Great customer service support team. We appreciate
Thank you.
this feedback a lot. Let's see what else.
I think between those questions, Matt, I mean, we also had some graphics regarding the events we're going to participate in. Yeah.
Yes, we do indeed. Let me see. It's difficult switching between these different screens in the studio here, but hopefully you guys can see it now. Yeah, we are planning to travel
Community sessions, understanding of the software technology, proactive problem solving. And there's a new type of event starting this year where we're going to do on-site events where we meet in in United States in every 1 month in new city. You can meet us on site, you can ask questions, you can see some kind of a solutions for problems, like a tool agnostic solutions for problems. That's the idea, to help community grow and work with test automation. And I think that will be a nice check, because we probably see that this will work. There was not a lot of attendees in already happening events. This is purely for problem solving, so less sales, more focus on the actual job
yeah,
to do.
the plan is to share our knowledge and
Yeah.
expertise. We've had a lot of time to gather it, and so we're happy to share it. And over the years, we've pretty much every year have been going to the biggest
Community events.
D365 community events. So
Yeah.
it's not really anything special for us, but the Summit NA roadshow is something special because it's
new.
never been done
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
It's new. We hope it will be as good as.
And I think it is free. That's the biggest challenge, the biggest change. That
Oh, really? It's
yeah,
free?
it's free for people from the place. So you can,
Okay.
like when you were in Dallas,
Mhm.
when your company is in Dallas, you're partnering in Dallas. You can just go to the event and be on to the sessions,
Right.
understand, see more,
Mhm.
and that's make the whole noise for the community for the main event, which is in San Antonio this year.
Mhm.
But actually, in pre-pandemic world,
Pre-COVID. Yeah,
pre-COVID, we've been visiting the EMEA summit in Europe,
yeah. Focus also.
Focus,
Yeah.
but there is a nice event happening in May as well, Dynamics Minds, where we're gonna host as well a few nice sessions,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be there on 27 up
End
to
of
20.
May, I think 27. Yeah, is
27
right.
May, yeah,
But
27, 29.
well, that was beautiful last year, right? The location.
Yeah.
Just right by the sea.
That's true.
Lots of sun, lots of beautiful food, and
Everybody talks about the
Jesus.
work.
yeah. It's a good way to mix the two, leisure and work.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys are planning to coming to any of these events, come by our booth. Yeah, just give us a high five, and we'll be happy to talk to you about test automation and also about other common D365 issues which we solve with other products that we
true.
have. I think we will be wrapping up. I don't see any more questions. I'm not sure if my my chat here has froze or there's just not any more questions. All right, if there are no more questions,
Matt, I think there was one question. How do you work with partners? This is something I see from
okay.
LinkedIn.
Well, really, I see it cannot really. There's some problems with
Yep,
popping
we
up.
got it.
Nice. So the way we work with partners is really simple. We first of all help partners get around the tool. So we provide some basic training. We help partners to understand how it works. And once a given partner understands that how this tool works and wants to promote it on their local market, then we provide all the help and all the support for the partner to be able to bring this to their clients, to promote it and also to implement it, to provide services around it. And at first we work closely together, but the goal is for the partner to become independent. So we try to transfer as much of our knowledge and expertise as quickly as possible to the partner. So usually within the first or two projects, we will do that. And then the partner can have all this knowledge and expertise and really sell this tool and implement it and provide services around it completely on their own. If you're interested in finding more about that, you can visit our partner page and just get in touch with us on the form there. Because we have run out of time, unfortunately. It's been a pleasure, but all good ends at some point, right?
That's true. But there are plenty of places and possibilities to visit us in different places in the globe. We also planned this year Australia, I think. So
we should come to Australia.
This is probably going to be the first ATW from the kind of flying nomenclature for us. We'll see how it's going to go.
Fly over the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate you coming here and talking to us to talk. I hope you took something valuable out of it. You can get in touch with us on the partner website. You can fill the form there. You can get in touch with us on LinkedIn if you want, and you can also sign up for the certification with the link that we posted on the chat. So thank you very much, and hope we'll see each other at some of these D365 events in the near future.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.